Everything we do is going to be about winning. Okay, we're going to learn to do things the right way, and that's the only way we're going to do them. Because if it doesn't help us, we're not doing it, man. That's just as simple as it gets. Win the Super Bowl.
That's good.
I mean it, too. You know, one of the things that the only reason you become a head coach in this league, in my opinion, is to win. That's it. That's the bottom line. If you do it for any other reason, you're wrong.
Hey football fans, welcome to the Washington Command Center. These are the best players left on the board. The Day 3 gems, the Richard Shermans, Cam Chancellors, Cam Curls, to build a dynasty with in this new era of Washington football, an era where this proud franchise can once again command respect. And what better way to kick off that new era than subscribing here to the Washington Command Center, so you can find your way back to some of the most opinionated and ice-cold calculated takes on all things Washington Commanders. While you're at it, ring that bell, hit that like button. It's free to do and it means a lot. So first off, I called that trade back 100%. The picks, none of them. I didn't call any of those. But I like them all as players. Like, the spots, debatable, but Jahan Dotson, Jahan Wick, Jahan Dot is a beast. Okay, this guy is a faster Deontay Johnson from the Steelers. Like, pretty much the same exact player you can see here, just better athletically. Same size, pretty much. Does the same thing. The idea that he's just going to be a slot at the next level is kind of crazy, especially when you look at him compared to Deontay Johnson, who's out there doing it, about to make Terry money. That was worth a first-round pick to me. Even though I didn't want a wide receiver in the first round, he's still a hell of a wide receiver, and I'm happy he's on the team. Second round, Phil Mathis, Phidarian Mathis. This was my favorite defensive tackle in the draft. I just didn't think we were going to go that early on defensive tackle. I legitimately thought the Payne stuff was smoke. And while it still might be, and, you know, we might end up signing Payne, if so, this dude is the perfect player to replace Ioannidis and Settle all in one. Okay? This guy has been comped to Jonathan Hankins, Dalvin Tomlinson, and Muhammad Wilkerson. And those are some high-tier defensive tackles. Now, the position they play isn't the most glamorous, but these guys have all posted elite play. When you're getting compared to those kind of guys, it's great. I really haven't seen a bad comparison, okay? Jonathan Hankins, you Washington fans don't remember him. The year that we were the year we drafted Payne, that's the guy we were all begging for in free agency from the Giants, okay? We just got him in the second round of the draft. Would I have gone there? Debatable, but still an awesome pick. Third round, Brian Robinson Jr. Now, I wasn't like thrilled with going running back here with a lot of needs out there. Second round too, there were a lot of other players I would have preferred to have. Brian Robinson Jr., on the other hand, was my favorite early round running back. I wanted us to get a big banger. I thought, you know, it'd be smarter to take a running back later on in the draft. Somebody like Xander Horvath, a big dude like Robinson, that we could possibly get undrafted maybe. But they thought it was important. This is a guy I love anyway. I love a big bruising back. And not only is this guy a big bruising back, he is smooth. Like, in his cuts, he's not it's not jerky at all. It's not like he's stopping and he's just, he moves laterally so smoothly that you can, sometimes it's hard to tell from him just moving straight. It's so smooth. Everybody this draft was talking about Olave's movement being smooth. This big dude was smooth as silk. Okay, and thrilled with the player. Just don't know about, taking him that high. Could we have got him in the 4th? I don't know. I think the fact that Ty Davis-Price got picked earlier by the 49ers kind of made Ron and Martin a little antsy. Them wanting that type of back, and having spoken to Davis-Price, they're like, oh man, well, if that guy we talked to that's a later guy has already gone, who knows if Robinson will be around later for us. And so they grabbed him, a player they thought they really needed when they thought they had to. So don't have a problem with any of those players. I love all those players. That said, also about Dotson, everybody was so hardcore about Olave, and I like Dotson better. Like, I was very almost anti-Olave just because he has no physicality to his play. Dotson, I believe, offers you everything Olave did, minus a tick of speed and a couple pounds. And he's a better catcher. He's just a smooth route runner. And he's way more physical after the catch, even at his size. I like him a lot better. I agree with Chris Collinsworth, owner of PFF, former All-Pro wide receiver. I think, Jahan Dotson, I liked him better than Olave. So I was thrilled with that. I was just thrilled with not getting Olave. How about that? Is that hater enough for you? Anyway, going into today, there is a ton of talent left. Like, there's a ton. And if we are going to get rid of Daron Payne, today would be a good time to do it. We need to trade him away for some picks. Because of the way this draft is, there are some very high caliber players still in the 4th round. Some crazy guys here. And there's some guys out there with a lot of 4th round picks. And there are some teams that could be interested in them. Like the Browns. The Browns have 3 4th round picks. The Browns don't have a really good defensive interior player to go along with Myles Garrett. Payne could be perfect for that. And with them getting Watson, great way to push all in is trade those 4ths, which is peanuts, and get a strong defensive interior player like Payne, and then we get what will probably be several starters out of the 4th, because that's the way it's stacking up. Also, Patriots. Patriots have 3 4th round picks. And man, they like big, good defensive interior players. He took one last year in Barmore. The rumor kind of is he was after Phil Mathis until we took him. Then he traded back. So maybe we give him the higher, overall ranked one. In Payne, he gives us those 3 4ths. Maybe. Also out there, Tampa Bay and the Jets, they both only have 2, but they both could use a defensive interior player. So, yeah, there's that. But we're going to go ahead and get along to these players. If we're trading Payne, this would be the time. Get a bunch of 4th round picks from these guys. They're not going to worry. I think it would be hard to get a first out of them. Well, impossible to get a first out of them. Hard to get a second. We're going to get a comp pick next year if we let him go. But go ahead and get multiple 4ths for him. I don't think it's that far out of the question. And because of the way this draft is, there is the talent. Okay, so we're going to start out with the offensive line prospects. And top tier dude, Zach Tom from Wake Forest, still on the board. He had the highest pass protection grade in the FBS last year, according to PFF. That was at left tackle. There, he also had an overall grade of 84.8 to go along with it. He's a great athlete. If you check out the RAS, he's a smooth mover. But this dude was originally a center. And that awesome 9.59 RAS becomes a perfect 10 when we move him back to center. Just like Creed Humphrey from last draft, well above Cam Jurgens from this draft, and he moves like that. He moves with that kind of athleticism and fluidity enough to play at left tackle and be one of the best pass protectors there because of that fluidity, his ability to mirror. You move that guy to center, that 10 RAS, top rated pass protector, back to center, and you have the steal of the draft. Hands down, we should be all over it. Maybe even trade up, because he's rare. And him still being here is rare. Maybe it's because people are still looking at him as a tackle, where he played and was tremendous at. But he's 6'4", 304 pounds. Maybe they're not thinking he has the size to continue playing left tackle, not giving any thought to how great he was already at center. So, I don't know why he's still on the board. We should definitely, if we're serious about protecting Wentz, go after this guy. And with Roulier's injury, it's a need. After him, another guy that is absolutely insane that he is still on the board is Darion Canard from Kentucky. And this dude's an absolute monster. His RAS doesn't do him any credit. Like, he's a incredible run blocker that just plays with hate. And he had 3 seasons of 89 or better grades at run blocking. And this year, he had an overall 91 playing right tackle. Grade playing right tackle. This is the kind of guy that could step right in for Sheriff and not miss a beat. He'll probably be a boost because he'll play more games. And I have no idea why this guy is still on the board. Maybe the only reason I could say is he's a little outspoken about, politics or something. He wore that, Trader Joe's shirt. Like, I have no idea why this guy is still on the board. I call him Fat Jason Momoa. I mean, look at the guy. But it is crazy that he is still on the board. He would be a huge steal. If we could get a trade like I was talking about with Payne off, we could have multiple early picks. We could fill out a whole offensive line, because the next guy, Kellen Dyche from Arizona State, is a freak athlete. He's got great mirroring, great feet. He doesn't play the strongest, but I watched a lot of ASU tape, and this guy just doesn't lose. He stays in front of his dude the whole time, on him like glue, doesn't let him get to his quarterback, and he was one of the highest graded left tackles in the Power 5 with an 87.2. I think Cosme has a future moving to left tackle, and this guy would be the perfect bookend to put on the other side. And up until then, he would make a great swing tackle. And even if we don't go for him, my man Rasheed Walker didn't test well. Well, he didn't test at all athletically. He actually had a kind of down season, but 6'5", 313 pounds. At worst, he's going to be a great guard, but I'm huge on this guy. As you can see, local prospect. He's from Waldorf, Maryland. I just love this guy. Like, he was, if you watch, like, he was up and down. He would lose to people he shouldn't lose to. But in the Michigan game, like, he was manhandling Aiden Hutchinson, David Ajabo. and just he gave up 2 pressures and a sack. And the sack he gave up was with Sean Clifford, who Ron Rivera's kind of buried a little bit when talking about Jahan Dotson there, was holding on to the ball for like 12 seconds. Probably because Jahan Dotson is the only offensive weapon they had, and he was waiting for him to get open. Because, they probably had 3 guys on Jahan Dotson. Sean Clifford doesn't think to throw the ball away, is just back there holding it, while Rasheed Walker was trying to hold this number 2 overall pick back, and finally gave up the sack. Otherwise, he was manhandling those guys. He has top-tier elite potential, just didn't have the consistency. He's the guy John Matsko could make a monster out of. Next up, we got Donovan West, another ASU guy, and he's a good athlete. He's a good mover. I mean, it's RES 7.3. That's decent, but this guy's really good in pass protection. They got him as offensive guard, but he can play center too, so he's got flexibility across the entire center of the offensive line. He would be a great piece to add, when we get back there today. Also, Lecitus Jones from Virginia Tech didn't test anywhere near as well as I thought he would, being a former tight end. And with how well this guy moves, man, he's good. He's a good run blocker. He holds up in pass protection. There's a lot to like about him, and he would be a great value, grabbing him here now that we're in day 3. Also, Alec Lindstrom, great athlete, great feet, great agility. This guy was one of the top graded centers in the whole country, but he's getting no love because of perceived strength they don't think he's going to be strong enough at the next level or something. But he was another guy just like Kellen Dice that just always seemed to win. And he was next to Zion Johnson and just got it done, with him. So another guy I think would be a steal. And then we get to a couple guys that were at the Shrine Bowl that we had coaches coach. And we got Obina Eze here, who Kellen Dice was also coached by Jennifer King and Ben Jacobs at the East West Shrine Bowl. And then Obina Eze from TCU. This guy came to this country at like 16 and then started playing football. So he hasn't been playing football, or maybe 17, and then started playing football. He hasn't been playing football that long at all. And he just has the perfect traits to be an elite left tackle. And he's done really well. He did really well through the whole Shrine Bowl process. Look, he has 36-inch arms. Like, 34 is what you're shooting for. Not many, there are a lot of people that don't quite hit those 34. He's got 2 inches to spare. Like, this guy's got amazing tools. And just at 6'6", I mean, he still wouldn't be a problem if you put him in the guard. But I think this guy could be a legit tackle prospect. Especially, I have complete faith in John Matsko. I think he could turn anybody into a Pro Bowler. I mean, who was Wes Schweitzer before he came here, Give him a guy with tools like this, man. And just like him, also from the Shrine Bowl, Bam Olaseni. Okay, this guy's been here even less. This guy I want to say he's been here 3 years, playing football. He came from the UK, and he's 6'7", 339 pounds with 36.5-inch arms. Now, didn't test great athletically here, but this guy was a soccer player growing up. Okay, and he moves very well when you see him playing. He just needs to learn techniques, work on his pad level. Another tremendous lump of clay that John Matsko could mold into a beast. And this is Obina Eze and Bam at this rate might go undrafted. Then we have the last guy for the offensive line here, Luke Wattenberg from Washington. And this guy had a tremendous Shrine Bowl process. Our coaches worked with him, and he's a center prospect. Look at this athletic score, 9.57, one of the best in the class. Not that far behind, if at all, behind Cam Jurgens, that's getting a bunch of hype. He was just drafted yesterday. But Luke Wattenberg, while, some offensive tackles struggle with that, to hit that 34-inch arms, this is a center with that. And that gives you so much of an advantage at center to have arms this long and be this athletic and this well of a mover. He's a raw traits kind of guy, but he's a good player. Lump of clay. And he's definitely going to be there. This is a guy, Bam Olasiti might slide. He comes with a international pathway player spot if we get him, where Luke Wattenberg is a guy we're probably going to have to draft there, by the 7th. But we got 2 7th-round picks if we don't get Zach Tom. Zach Tom has, versatility across the whole line. He should be the perfect target. But if we don't get him, there's another great center prospect there. Okay, so another need we have on the offensive side of the ball, a way we could help Carson out, is with some tight ends. And I think the best tight end prospect here is Chigga Konkwo. Now, his overall RAS isn't great because he's 6'3", 138 pounds. But he had the fastest 40 time at the combine. And as a tight end, running that, seam, like, straight line speed is very important for a tight end. And not only has he got great straight line speed, he had a good 3-cone. He's got a 35.5-inch vert. Like, he's a very good athlete. And he's still a powerful blocker. Even at that size, he's not just a jumbo receiver, but he still does that well. He offers a crazy ability to make people miss and break tackles at the tight end position. And he could be a really special playmaker. I think of him as like a gadget tight end for the way they used him at Maryland. I thought it was awesome. They did a lot of sweeps with him. Imagine a 6'3", 238-pound guy running sweeps and running past guys and running through guys. We run a lot of that stuff, a lot of motion, a lot of sweeps. This is a guy that could bring a sweep out of the backfield and catch DBs and stuff completely off guard when they get blasted by this monster. It would be amazing. This guy could be a legit weapon. You get him moving one way and Curtis Samuel going the same way, and you could do some crazy stuff with him. And he could just be that jumbo receiver too that we're missing. We've got a good blocking tight end in John Bates and Samus Reyes. John Bates, I think, is a legit dual threat. And when Logan comes back, we know he is. But this guy could be too. Like, we could have an elite trio / quad of tight ends with this guy, Chigga Konkwo. Also, man, Isaiah Likely tested horribly. But if you watch this guy play, like, he's way faster than this. He is not a 5'8" speed guy. Like, he's a smaller tight end at 6'4", 245, but he's so smooth. He runs such good routes. He's so smart. He looked like one of the most athletic tight ends in football, but just didn't test that way. But his on the field play is just, it's awesome. I know it's at a lower level competition down there at Coastal, but hey man, that's the same level of competition that Malik Willis was playing. So yeah, I think Isaiah Likely is getting slept on because of some bad, testing. But at this point in the draft, he's definitely worth a look. Also, Cole Turner, who we met with a few times. Not the best athletically, but he's a big boy with a big catch radius. And he has good on-field speed. He ran a 4.7, which is, pretty good for a tight end. And he's got 33-inch arms. He's got all the tools to be a good, pass-catching tight end. He's just not so much known for his blocking. And then Jalen Wademeyer. This dude had horrible testing. Look at it. He fell off a cliff this year, too. This guy was projected as the number 1 tight end in the class coming into the year. He had a great season last year. He was still very productive this year, but he's still on the board. He's going to be a guy that's probably there at the end of today, when somebody snags him in round 7. But this guy's definitely worth a pick. And then I put in Tanner Connor here. We already got a wide receiver in Jahan Dotson. But this guy is, 6'3", 230 pounds, runs a 4.37 40, has a 39-inch vertical. This is a guy that he was a small school guy, didn't play good competition, but he is a freaky athlete that would be worth taking a risk on and gives you the perfect jumbo wide receiver type of tight end that we need to complement what we already have. So there's talks of him, converting the tight end from wide receiver, and man, with that kind of athleticism, everybody freaking out over Watson and stuff. Well, this dude's got 15 pounds on him and is just as explosive, if not more. Like, did Watson have a 30-inch vert or a 39-inch vert? I don't know. I also think we can all agree that we need a linebacker too. I don't know why we've waited this long. I guess they took the players they wanted. But I just want to talk about first Damone Clark. If he hadn't had surgery that was going to make him miss his rookie season, he definitely still wouldn't be on the board. You see this guy's a 9.86 RAS, 6 foot, almost 3, 200 and almost 40 pounds, 4.57. This guy, great athlete with great rounded skills. And maybe, at the end of day 3, we take this guy and stash him. But we need more immediate help at the linebacker position, and there's a couple guys to help us out there. You got local prospect Brandon Smith, who, with his athleticism, I find it crazy that he is still on the board. Now, he is as elite as you come at the linebacker position. Like, we took Jamin Davis last year. This guy's a better athlete than Jamin Davis. And he's bigger. He's 6'3", 250 pounds. He ran a 4.52 40. He had a 37.5-inch vert. This dude is a monster. Washington fans worried about coverage from the mic. Well, this dude has the highest ceiling just about period. And he's super young. I think he's only 20 years old. He'll turn 21 by the time the season comes, but he's not even 21 yet. This dude can't even drink. but he played the slot overhang role for Penn State last season, and he was great at it. That's where he played his best football at. So he's a crazy prospect that could possibly fill that nickel role and that Mike role because he's 250 pounds, which does not compute. That's batty. A 250-pound nickel is just crazy, but he's that type of athlete. And this dude, like I said, he's local from Louisa, Virginia. Pairing him with Jamin Davis would give us the most athletic linebacker group ever. But they both kind of need some season, and he is worth a shot now that we are into the 4th round without a linebacker. This guy definitely needs to get called up. After him, Aaron Haynesford. This is another local guy from D.C. He's not very highly ranked, but he graded pretty good. He had a 75.9 overall by PFF. He's a good coverage linebacker with good enough size to play the mic. He's 240 pounds, almost 6'3". Man, he could be stronger against the run, but he can definitely grow into that. And I love local athletes, and he is one of the best linebackers left on the board. So I think he's a lot better of an athlete than his RAS grade shows here, even though it's above average, you know. After him, another guy. This guy probably doesn't even get drafted, which just means we'll be able to scoop him up for nothing, but I just wanted to mention him as another local prospect. Gaddafi Wright from Buffalo. That's where we got Jared Patterson from last year. And this dude is a really good, rangy coverage linebacker. Every time I saw him play, I thought he was pretty good against the run too. But he hasn't graded well enough to be ranked by anybody. I think he had a way better season last season. That happened with a couple of these prospects. They looked amazing last year. And then the year before they come back, they have some setbacks. But Gaddafi Wright, I would be so happy if we signed him undrafted. And then a guy that I think that'll probably go undrafted, but I have a strong feeling that if by the 7th round, maybe even the 6th round, if Ron hasn't taken a linebacker yet, he will take this guy. He was at the local prospect combine. Diego Fago played for Navy. Not only is he from a military family where his dad was in the Army, this guy is a Navy player. This guy is as Ron Rivera as it gets. Big Hispanic kid, linebacker, military family. This is Ron's wet dream. He's almost 6'3", 240 pounds, downhill thumper. He was the Shrine Bowl defensive MVP. Ron loves Shrine Bowl players. Us Washington, the Washington team loves Shrine Bowl players. We were drafting those guys before Ron got here. We started getting even more and signing even more since he's been here. It's where Chase Royer came from. Quite a few other players on the team. I can definitely see Diego Fago ending up on this team, whether it's late in the draft or unsigned free agent. I definitely think we could end up with him. We already have like an Air Force guy on the team too, or on the practice squad from last year, Noah Laffenberg. So this is a guy I think Ron would actually put on the team. Now, we also need a free safety and a nickel. Well, as far as nickel goes, JoJo Doman is still on the board. And after Jalen Petrie, I thought he was the next best nickel prospect. Ron opened the door by saying, you could play a linebacker in that Buffalo nickel position. And JoJo Doman's basically been playing nickel anyway. And while he was in nickel, he had an 87 coverage grade, which is great. So out of the slot, this dude shutting it down, got a great 87 coverage grade. He also, while playing linebacker, managed to get an 87 overall grade, which was great. Just like right after Petrie, I think this is the best dude. And he's a guy that could come in and start right away. Now, the big downside is that he's 25. But that also allows him to be mature enough to play right away. This guy's got a lot of experience at exactly what we need, and he played great this year. And that's something he could come in right in to our defense and do right away in a great way. Also, we got Dane Belton from Iowa, who could play the safety position. Now, I think he could also fill that nickel role, but even though he played strong safety there in Iowa, athletically, I think he stacks up really great to Justin Reed, who was my favorite free safety in free agency. Now he had the same speed, same vert. Like, just athletically, they were very similar. Like, Justin Reed had a slight little edge on him athletically because of, better three cone, better shuttle, But otherwise, they were very, very close at everything else. And this dude's a great athlete, and he just seems like he needs a little bit more refinement, and he could be great. And he's got, like, 4.43 speed was rare, from top, free safeties before this draft. Like, before this draft, there's going to be a crazy influx of speed at the safety position. Which brings me to the next guy, Smoke Monday, who at 4.52, that's kind of the average speed. That's where the Marcus Williams is and the other top guys are. They're at that 4.5 range when it comes to speed. And this guy played, even with, a really good size, he's about 6'2", and 207 pounds. Like, that's where he lived on that Auburn defense. He played deep a lot, and once we get, now that we're going into day 3, he starts looking better with every round. And if players like Dane Belton are gone, this is a guy I'd definitely consider to play that free safety position. Then you got a guy like Marquis Bell from small school, but really good athlete, really good size, 6'2", 212 pounds. He's a guy that I think could come in and play the free safety or the nickel position with his skill set, with his athletic ability. And he's a guy I'm pretty sure is going to be there 7th round. Then the only corner I actually considered to play the nickel position was Chase Lucas from Arizona State. Now, I watched a lot of Arizona State football. Like, Darian Butler, linebacker, was a guy that I started out watching tape on, and I just kept seeing Chase Lucas making a lot of plays, even at the line. Like, this guy played almost exclusively from the slot, and he made a lot of stops. He was just considered a slot corner, and he wasn't kind of like valued as that star position like in college, like Petrie is, like Bama uses a star, Baylor and Bama, they all use a star. This guy, they're just like, oh, they're calling him a slot corner, but he's basically playing that nickel star role, shutting down running backs and covering people out of the slot. And while he's a little light, he was stout in run defense, 4.48 speed. This was the only corner I considered out of everybody in the draft to be like, yes, I would stick this guy at nickel. And that's because I watched him stick his nose into the run so many times and make the play. Then Juanya Thomas. This dude was the star of the Senior Bowl in my opinion. Fell in love with this guy. Had never, like, I scouted a lot of guys this year, and I had never heard of this guy until the Shrine Bowl. Then I don't know personally how my man Diego Fago got the MVP, because this dude killed it. This dude seemed like he was just making plays the whole time. I think he got like 12 tackles in that game. Not sure, but he just killed it. And when I saw him then, I was like, that guy could play nickel, because they had him playing down the box a lot. They played him all over. This is a guy, though, that I believe would be like a Cam Curl type steal to come in and play that nickel position. And he's got the size to do it. Like, he's bigger than even Petrie. You know, Petrie, his main complaint from people was he didn't have the size. Well, this guy's 213 pounds, 6.5 feet tall. He's got better size than Petrie. Played a lower level of competition. But, man, he's got all the tools from what I've seen from his play. Like, I think Juanya Thomas could be a legit sleeper for a nickel player. Then we got Bubba Bolden. Now, there are some of us Washington content creators that love Bubba Bolden, but I've never been like a huge Bubba Bolden fan. Yes, I've seen him make like open field tackles on like Tutu Atwell last year, which, you know, ain't easy because he's greasy fast, but he just doesn't make enough plays against other people. But he has great potential at, you know, 6'2", 209 pounds, 4.47. He's got athletic tools, and he just needs to clean up mental errors and everything. He could be good. In the 7th round, I would not be mad at Bubba Bolden. Quentin Lake. Okay, Quentin Lake doesn't even have enough stuff to make a full RAS score here. He's almost 6'2". He's 201 pounds, 4.59 40. Nothing impressive, but this dude was like the unsung hero in UCLA, man. Like, he made so many plays, shut down so many people over the top. He's a beast. I really, really, really liked Quentin Lake from what I watched this year. And he's one of the, like, he was listed as a strong safety, but this is one of the guys I watched where I would be comfortable with him as our free safety actually playing deep. And he just, I don't know, he put a top on that UCLA defense, and he was a guy that was just making all the plays. Like, I really can't think of another defensive player for UCLA. It just seems like he did it all. So, 7th round, we get to that, I'd be fine with him. Brad Hawkins. Now, I don't know why I had it ordered this way, because Brad Hawkins is probably, after JoJo Dolman, and Juanya Thomas, like, they're kind of all in the same region for who I think would be the best nickel prospect in this draft. This guy's ranked so low because of his athletic testing, I guess. I don't know. Because his grade was an 83, according to PFF. He played great. 4.57, not a horrible time for even a free safety. And he did play the majority of his snaps deep. But, you know, he played a lot in the box too. He played some in the slot. But people are projecting him as like a nickel linebacker anyway. Or like a safety linebacker convert. And I think he would be perfect to it. Like, he gets overshadowed by your Daxton Hills and your Aiden Hutchinsons on that Michigan defense. But I think he's close to the perfect nickel prospect. I really do. And yeah, if I had to order these nickel prospect guys, I'd go Dolman, and then I'd probably go Hawkins before Juanya Thomas. But as far as, and then there's this guy, okay, Scott Nelson. Now, it's no secret I was a huge Leo Chanel fan. And that defense was just so great. It was Leo Chanel busting heads, Sanborn cleaning up, and it seemed like Scott Nelson was the only man doing anything in the secondary. And this dude was everywhere. Those three players made all the plays on the defense. And athletically, like, I had no idea that this dude was this good athletically. Like, compare this guy to Harrison Smith from Minnesota, and athletically, he's just better. He's bigger. Well, he's taller. He's 3 reps short on the bench. He's faster. He's more explosive. He's pretty much the same in the agility drills. Like, this guy's a super sleeper, and man, nobody's talking about him. He is still on the board, along with everybody I've mentioned so far. So, yeah, Scott Nelson, low-key, would be a steal at this point. And don't get it twisted. This guy's not an Apke. First of all, he's not as fast as Apke. But he's an actual good player. Not just a track convert. Then we had a guy that came to the local combine called Devante Cross. He played for Virginia. He didn't do any athletic testing except for the bench, which was weird. I don't know if he was injured or what. This dude's a former quarterback. He's a ball hawk because of it. Like, he's pretty good athletically. He's, 6'3", 216 pounds. Former quarterback that he's just got ball skills. Like, this guy has a way to hang back there, keep the play in front of him, and just go after balls. Like, he knows where the quarterback's going because he knows how the quarterback thinks. I think that's an amazing trait for a linebacker to have, and you don't see it much at the safety position. So when you can, I think it's a rare talent for him to have. This guy's probably going to go undrafted, so I think he could be a low-key steal of a signing to have kind of like a ball-hawking weapon. Then the last group we have is corners, and we need some help in the secondary. And there are some guys still left on the board. Some guys like Jalen Armour-Davis from Bama, who had an 81.3 grade. He's got great scheme versatility, and we can stay on that Bama train and get a quality piece of our secondary for a steal in this draft. But he has some injury concerns. But, man, he didn't test the greatest, but he has that 4.39 speed, that makeup speed. He's got, he's 6 feet tall, almost 200 pounds. Like, he's got some good traits, like some really good traits to play with. And yeah, as long as the injuries are okay, I just don't see why he's so low down the boards after playing the way he did this year. Then there's Darian Kendrick, who had an 83.2 grade this year, which is, pretty good. And coming from Clemson, he was seen as an elite round 1 cornerback prospect. But this dude, Like, coming into this season, this guy was supposed to be a first rounder. But he had tons of off-field stuff. He had drug and weapon charges. And along with that, he had horrible testing. 4.79 40, 5'11", which ain't bad, 194 pounds, ain't bad. But the horrible athletic testing, along with the off-field stuff, bring him down. But this guy has put in elite play on the football field. And I know Ron's a big culture guy, but a player of this caliber late in the draft has just tremendous upside just from the play he's put. He has put elite play. I don't care about the athleticism. He's better than that on the field. His play is just too good to ignore. And that a dude just like that is local prospect Jermaine Waller. Like, he ended his awesome college career the worst way possible. He started off this season where he was projected as a first round guy by PFF. He was completely on fire for the first 5 weeks. Like he still was like, oh wow, this is a first round guy. And then he fell apart for the rest of the season, and then well into this draft season. I think he had an injury that kept him out of the actual Shrine Bowl. But, he got measured up there and kind of limped through some drills, and then didn't end up playing. And then just his athletic testing was horrible. I mean, a 4.68 40. He was 6'1", 180. He's lighter than we thought. 35-inch vert wasn't good. 10 broad wasn't good. But this guy has, 3 years, on the field where he was an absolute monster. He was a opposite of Caleb Farley for one of those years, taking on pass after pass from quarterbacks choosing to test him instead of Farley, because, Farley was that elite round 1 talent, and he made him pay for it. He gave up he had like a 34 something forced incompletion rating, which was the best in all of college football. You got a better quarterback rating throwing the ball directly into the ground than throwing it at him in 2019. And I mean, at least he played, unlike Stingley. I mean, he had some injuries too, but at least he played more. Not to his benefit, but he played more games, and he just tested horribly, and that tanked his stock. But this is a local guy we can get for nothing, that just try him out. I mean, plenty of great players have tested badly and had down seasons. We also have Mario Goodrich from Clemson, and this is a guy, he tested well enough athletically, and he played really good. I think this guy graded, he got an 84.4 PFF grade. This dude graded awesome. He had one of the better grades out of all corners in college football, and he played at Clemson. They put out amazing corners, and I don't know what brings him so low down the rankings. This dude was ranked at 244 by PFF, which is just ridiculous. He's a decent, maybe it's the weight, 176 pounds, but he's 6 foot tall, over 6 foot tall. 4.52 is not a death nail at cornerback. It's not. And playing at that level, at that school, this guy should be drafted. Then we also have the Black Mamba 2.0, Kobe Bryant, the Jim Thorpe Award winner, 86.7 PFF grade, And he was on the other side while, Sauce erased wide receiver ones or decoys, depending on what you hear. He was the guy on the other side, shutting shit down, and he did it at an extremely high level. Like I said, he won the Jim Thorpe Award for the best corner in college football. And athletically, not the best, but not the worst either. He's got good size, almost 6'2", almost 200 pounds. 4.54 is pretty good at that size, and he graded great. And he's good in zone coverage. All these guys that I mentioned too play zone coverage well, because that's what we play. Then we got Zion McCullum here. He is the all traits guy. Now, he graded great too. He put up a 79.2 PFF grade, but he was playing against FCS competition, at Sam Houston. He's not playing the best competition, but he does have all the athletic tools. So I wouldn't be mad at him either. Or a Caleb Evans, who played better competition and ended up with a 74.6 RAS score. He transferred from, I think, a small school to Mizzou this year and still played really good. And athletically, 6'2", almost 200 pounds, 4.40. He's got everything together. And he played a lot of zone coverage too. But my favorite guy, my favorite corner, and the whole draft, for better or worse, even though, he graded with a 67.8, is Tariq Castro Fields. This guy's a local prospect. Can't say it enough. He's 6'1", almost 200 pounds. He ran a 4.38 40. He had a 37-inch vert. And he played at least 4 years at Penn State, playing some of the best competition. And he did his best work in zone coverage. I think with his elite athleticism, the skills he's already polished up, and being such a great fit, Tariq Castro Fields is my favorite corner in the draft. I would much rather have him here late in the draft than take, who's considered a much better player earlier for that high of a pick. Like anybody except Sauce between here and there, I'd rather have Tariq. Because, Sauce is a great, zone coverage corner too. And so is Castro Fields. Sauce has just got all that other elite stuff to go with it, with the elite play. But Castro Fields can be, a really, really good corner. He's shown that for a long time at Penn State. And he's a guy I would love for us to get. So that's all the guys in day 4 that I think we should be interested in. And there's a lot of them. And a lot of potential in them to fill a lot of spaces. Now, honestly, like I said, I would not hate it at all if we are, in fact, going to trade Payne. If we get that done right now with a trade partner like the Browns or the Patriots that can give us 3 fourth-round picks so we could just grab up most of these guys. That sounds crazy, but just the offensive line guys. If we got Zach Tom, Darion Canard, Kellen Dyche, and my man Obina Eze or Bam Olaseni to play tackle. Oh, Rasheed Walker, that would be my guy. If we got Zach Tom, Darion Canard, Kellen Dyche, and Rasheed Walker, we'd have the next generation of a great offensive line all in the 4th round or something. I know that sounds crazy, but There are other guys here. Jalen Armour Davis. Brandon Smith. Brandon Smith is almost a must at this point. Like, if we don't come out, if Brandon Smith is still on the board when we pick today and we don't take Brandon Smith, I'm going to be furious. Like, we took Jamin Davis in the first round, and Brandon Smith is still sitting on the board. But I don't know. Let me know what you think down below. What do you think of the draft so far? I'm actually happy with the players we ended up with, even if we did miss all these players I love that I thought would be great fits. But we still made good picks, and if that's what Ron Rivera and Martin Mayhew and them think the team needs more, then, I mean, what do I know? I mean, I think I noticed some weaknesses in our game and tried to point out some guys that would fill those the best. But if they think they can get it done another way, then I pray that they do. I know these guys are going to help no matter what. Maybe we're just going to overload the offense and just say, you know what, our defense, even if they play like last year, it's going to be good enough because we're going to put up 50 points a game. Doesn't matter, but maybe we kick off this new era of Washington football as a complete just offensive onslaught. We just throw up all these points and just command respect from the whole league. And why don't you kick off this new era by hitting that like button, subscribing down below to the Washington Command Center. And if you stayed this long, I love y'all. Peace. If you can't tell, I'm a little loopy. I stayed up all night trying to get this out before the draft, and I'm literally about to put it out probably an hour before the draft. So stayed this long. I love y'all. Peace.